All right, Ohio. Ohio passed medical marijuana through the legislative branch. Disaster every time this happens. And all right, you may remember Ohio had it question on the ballot. I don't know if it was 2012 or 2014, but whatever, it didn't pass. Why didn't it pass? Because it was a terrible piece of legislation, restrictive. The medical marijuana and the recreational marijuana was both restrictive, and both were given away to 10 grow facilities that would have been administered in the state. And all of them were people that invested on this, and all the people that invested were shady. They were cops, they were football players or basketball players or something like that, former professional players. For so many reasons, it was just a giveaway to them and their people, and it would have been very bad for people that just wanted to get in on the ground floor. You know, that would have never happened there. These other legislative write-ups for legalized medical marijuana in states all across the board. New York, Illinois, now Maryland, Arizona. Too many to mention, too many to remember in this short clip, but what I'm going to tell you is that when the legislative branch writes these laws, watch out. And in Ohio, you had the original thing where they turned down medical and recreational marijuana because it was just a giveaway to the ground level growers and grassroots people couldn't get involved in the industry at all. Well, the legislative branch decided to get together with themselves and hammer out their own medical marijuana thing, and I guarantee you recreational is coming before they can get another petition drive together for something that's real. Because I don't know about normal in Ohio and everybody, but they should be more aimed at that, because the legislative is gonna use this as like a pilot program for maybe a year, and then bam, they're gonna get right into recreational marijuana, and they're gonna destroy any chances of it being a grassroots controlled situation like we have in Colorado, a little bit more in Oregon right now, but not so much later when the alcohol commission takes over. Who knows, man? Michigan had a really good proposal that didn't make the ballot that would have been the best recreational marijuana, because it would have been closer to the people. The people would have been the ones to be able to control it. It wouldn't have been in the hands of like these people that used to arrest you for it, for example, or these people that are big money players that do this stuff all over the country, and maybe they came from Amsterdam. Who knows what, you know, it's starting to get like that too. So anyway, what you have now is the legislative branch wrote the law, and then they gave it away. Ohio Controlling Board agrees to release $1.8 million to the State Department of Commerce and Ohio Pharmacy Board to operate the Ohio Medical Marijuana Control Program. So far, the wording is scary as hell. All right, in June, Ohio Governor John Kasich signed into law a measure that lays out the framework for regulating the new industry and lists 19 qualifying conditions for patients to be eligible. It prohibits home growing of marijuana and smoking cannabis, and it allows employers to dismiss workers who violate their workplace drug policies. That's pretty much across the board in marijuana states. I'll do a story about that another time. But anyway, here you go. Did I stutter? When the legislative branch writes and passes these laws, you see them sail through with no problems, no hurdles, and no opposition. You got to step back and wonder, why not? Especially these Republicans. Ohio is a Republican stronghold in their government, and even the Democrats, as you are about to find out, are corrupt and shady and are beholden to the same corporate interests as the Republicans in Ohio are. So they'll do the same backflips and say that this is a good law. Let's sign it. Let's do it. Of course this happens everywhere. New York State, their law has been in effect for 2 years. They still don't have marijuana on the ground in most of New York. And where they do, it's tightly regulated, tightly controlled by the handoff group of people that the legislator at the time, and maybe even now as we evolved into newer things 2 years later, they probably got, it's just a giveaway to the people that they know. It always is when the legislator passes these laws. I promise you it always is. Just keep following these. It will be every time. Alright, so the law takes effect September 8th. The program is supposed to be operational no later than September 2018. Again, another thing about those legislative branch medical marijuana, and now we're seeing with recreational marijuana laws being passed, is that the rollout is really slow. Really slow. So slow that every corrupt little thing that could possibly happen along the way happens, as well as anybody that could be arrested still gets arrested before it happens. And then afterwards they get arrested too, because they're not the ones that got the golden ticket to the to work in the industry. This is like one of the most controlled monopolies I've seen roll out. Like all these places where the legislator hands it off, because you're basically saying, no, you can't even think about getting in on the ground floor. Come work for us, or just, you're done. Just buy it from us. And it's unbelievable. Marijuana is a natural thing that grows in the ground. These regulations will never work. I promise you. It might take years to undo this garbage, but it will be undone. Maybe in one fell swoop, we'll see. But this kind of corruption is going to be definitely rooted out. So anyway, see you in September of 2018. Here's your Democrat. Quote, I am pleased to see that the necessary steps are being taken immediately as this law takes effect. What's she talking about? Is there some kind of a decriminalization that goes along with this? Because I didn't see that in the thing. I didn't really read it up close and look at it all. But there's definitely no de facto decriminalization that's attached to this super controlled garbage. And not only that, but this $1.8 million is just a handoff to some people that's like, hey, insiders, here's some cash right up front. Get in the front door. Here's $1.8 million, and as you might find out yourself, because I'm not really going to be able to parse out these numbers on this particular article that I'm reading out of. But I'll tell you what, man, it's really limited. There's not a whole lot of people that are getting in on the game. So $1.8 million between about 30 people or something like that. It's not very good. And by the way, I'm getting this from the Columbus Bureau. Laura A. Bishkoff is the reporter. So kudos to you for reporting on this. So anyway, that was your Democrat. Representative Dan Ramos from Lorain County, or Lorain, whatever, in Ohio, who supported the bill. Quote, it is important that we are able to get this vital medicine to patients who need it as soon as possible, unquote. Wow, you're talking about medicine that you're not going to get to them until September of 2018, and only a certain amount of people are going to be able to operate these grow facilities and processing facilities, kind of like the Maryland law, if you want to look into that. So the pharmacy board, which will receive $882,400 of the $1.8 million, will hire oversight staff, update its prescription reporting system, license medical marijuana dispensaries, and operate the Ohio Medical Marijuana Advisory Committee. The Commerce Department, which will receive $923,000, will license growers, processors, and testing labs. And like I said, there's only a limited number of those, so it's going to be really regulated and handed off to just a few people. Not a very good thing for the grassroots movement that might have helped legalize in Ohio, but who knows. The program kicked off a new website where people can get answers to frequently asked questions. Sign up for updates and find out other info about the law and regulations at www.medicalmarijuana.ohio.gov. I will put the link below in the description of the video. Anyhow, nationwide, 42 states and the District of Columbia have adopted laws that recognize medicinal value to marijuana, and 25 states have workable medical marijuana laws according to the Marijuana Policy Project. Blah, 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 blah. So there you have it. Ohio, a disaster about to unfold really slowly, just like what happened in New York, just like what happened in New Jersey, just like what happened in Arizona, just like what happened, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on and on. Every time that somebody decides to preemptively legalize marijuana before the people do, disaster, 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 crony capitalism giveaway, and then you're cut out of the market. You can't grow, you can't, if you can grow, it's such a small amount of plants, it's almost like an arbitrary, like, oh, you can grow 3 or 6 plants, and like I said before, in my opinion, that's not such a bad thing, but it's marijuana, man. It's something that you cannot eradicate, you cannot controlled substance act it, because it's something that grows out of the ground. Just about anybody can grow it. Millions and millions of people can grow it really well in America and other countries nearby. So, like, please, Ohio and all you other idiots, realize that if the people want this, they will get it. And this attempt to control it like it's alcohol, tobacco, or pharmaceutical prescription drugs, or any of these other means and methods that you have of so-called controlling substances, will never, ever, ever work. And that's all I got to say about that.